Good afternoon or good morning or wherever you are. It's great to see you. It's Harlan Cohen or like I'm an object. I'm Harlan Cohen, and I am grateful to be here with you today. This is exciting. Yesterday, Win or Learn, the new book, Win or Learn, came out, and I was able to talk with Todd Stocky, the senior editor, the gatekeeper at Source Books. He works very closely with my publisher, with Dominique. And Todd was great. I don't know if you saw my interview with Todd, but what was fascinating is I misspelled his name. Right, like this is the editor. This is the person who's in charge of, you know, pretty much the editorial process. And I misspelled his name, which just shows how imperfect I am. And I can celebrate the fact that I still make mistakes. And the joy of this book, the joy of the project, the joy of what I do is I allow myself to be imperfect. And with Win or Learn, you can allow yourself to be imperfect because we all are. But the most important thing in being able to recover and move forward is to be able to have people in your corner. One of the steps in the book talks about who are the 5 people in your corner. And we need to have people in our corner at all times, people who will lift us up, people who will help us, people who will remind us of the things that we need to hear, people who will love us, but also people who will tell us the truth, even if we don't want to hear that truth. Because as we go after the things we want in life, we're going to face discomfort. And unless we have people in our corner, we feel very alone and we start to panic. As you go through the book, you'll learn it's all about what do I want, what makes me uncomfortable, and then people, places, and patience. And when it comes to the people part, you need to have people in your corner who you can reach out to who will be there. And I am so blessed and so lucky to be with someone today who has been in my corner. This is a woman who I have just immense respect for, who I am just so blessed to have in my life. This is a woman who's been there. She's been there through it all. This woman's been there really from the first day, I could say. I mean, she's been in my corner, and I was in her corner. I'm just so amazed that I can talk to this woman and so blessed. She is so strong. She has been through so much, and she continues to be a rock and someone in my corner and so many other people's corner. Just to give you a little more background, she grew up in a single parent home from the age of 15 onwards. So when she was in her most sensitive years, difficult years, the person in her corner, her father passed away unexpectedly, and she had to persevere with her mom and her brother and sister. She then wanted to go to college and had to commute. She drove, I'll figure it out exactly, but at least, an hour, maybe an hour and a half from Cleveland to Kent State University. It was very important for her to go to college. She didn't have to. She pushed herself to do that. She graduated. She then became a teacher. And I have to remember exactly the grade, and she can certainly help me to remember that. I then fell in love, or I think you might have fallen in love before that as a teacher, uh, had children, 3 children, uh, continued to be a leader, became very involved in the school board, eventually was elected president of the school board, then continued on her leadership course, co-authoring a book with a couple of friends, and actually published that book, then partnered to found a business. So she's an entrepreneur as well. She's a co-founder of a business that still is in existence, that's become a thriving, unbelievable business. Also elected president of her temple, actively involved in philanthropy, an architectural guide in Chicago, travels, is a friend to so many people, and continues to be a friend not only to anyone who needs a hand, but someone who has been a friend to me. And this woman is my mother.
Ah,
That's who it is. What a build. That was like a 3-minute
wow.
build for you. Can you believe that?
Wow. Sounds, I'd like to meet this person.
What's really cool about you is you don't have a LinkedIn profile. When I do this, I go to LinkedIn and I'll usually take somebody's profile. And with you, you don't have a LinkedIn. And the thing is, you're so unbelievably accomplished and you continue to do so much. Like, do you ever celebrate that?
No,
Isn't that
Yeah.
something?
I have a feeling, and this is not a good thing, but if I've accomplished it, it's no big deal. Anybody can do it. So I don't take any particular pride in having done all this. It's just what you do. It is, it's
Yeah.
just me.
Well, I think moms are in the shadows. I think that mothers don't get the credit they deserve, and I think that uh, oftentimes they're just there, and you just, or at least some people just take those things for granted. But just thinking about you and what you've done and how you've been there has really been something really cool and exciting. And I love it. I love being able to just kind of look at some of the things that you've done and how you've done that, and to be able to just spend a couple minutes celebrating you and also thanking you. Thanks for being in my corner.
Thank you, Har. You're always in my corner.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving birth to me. I understand that it was a difficult birth. Is
It
that
was.
true?
That is correct. It was so difficult that at the last minute, the doctor said to me, "You've got to sign this. You need permission to do an emergency C-section." And having had two children that were not C-section, this came as quite a surprise. So yeah, it was difficult, but you know what? You're worth it.
There are no more, like, I mean, it got pretty hairy there at some point, right? Like
Yes, it did.
it was almost an emergency. But anyway, we made it through it, and I don't have my dad he's working right now because he's working, right? Isn't that what he's doing?
Correct.
Yeah, he's always working, which is great. But he's still in my corner, and he's just as wonderful and incredible of a person. So you were asking me before how the book's going,
Yeah,
and
how's it going?
I wouldn't answer your question before. It's going well. The book just came out yesterday, and you know, I've got this with this book. It's like if people want it, great, and if they don't, great. It's like I'm not I'm not putting too much pressure on myself because I just think that if people like it, they're going to like it, and if they don't, then it's not for them. And so people seem to like it so far, so it's going well.
I think you wrote it from your heart. And I understand what you're saying, that you really expressed yourself. You opened yourself up. And if people want to read it, they will. But you didn't write it for any other reason except to explain who you are and how you feel and how to help people.
Yeah, I think that, and that framework of helping, you have helped me so much and continue to help me, and I really am so grateful to have you. I even get a little emotional just going through all this because, gosh, you're always there. You've always been there, and your motto has been to do everything you can to make life easier, and you have, and you continue to do that, and I'm just so grateful for that. I know that when I had breakups, you've been there to help me. There was even I mean I'll share anything. There was even like some online person who I had like an online relationship with that was felt very real at the time. And when I got dumped, almost like catfish, you were there. Do you remember that? We walked around Lincoln Park together.
I remember it very well. We went to lunch
Yeah.
and you were just so sad.
I was so sad. And this is for anyone who's like, online relationships, virtual relationships, they feel very real. Relationships are real, but you were there for that and continue to be there for it all. I don't want to talk a lot about me. I want to talk a little bit more about you. And I have a short amount of time with you, just because we have a short window today, but we can certainly talk again. So, when it comes to rejection and it comes to dealing with discomfort, when you look at your life, what's been the most uncomfortable experience, and how did you get through that? It's a question I ask a lot of people, and I think it's really revealing. And you can share as much or as little as you want, but is there something that comes to mind?
When I was listening to the question, I had a few things that came to my mind. And what was the most uncomfortable?
You've
I,
had a lot.
you know what? I really haven't.
Well,
I, I've never considered myself having difficult times. It was just whatever came, you just deal with it and move on. And sometimes I wonder, well, maybe I didn't deal with it because I moved on. Maybe I should have
right.
felt more pain. But I just always felt that these things happen, and they happen to you, and you have choices, and the choice is to go down or stay up. And it's always been my philosophy to stay up. And I've had a couple of people say to me, well, why are you so happy? Well, I'm not always happy, but I am a happy person. And not to say, as I said, that I've had moments where I'm not happy, where I've been very sad. But for the most part, 98% of the time, something happens. Like, okay, you mentioned earlier that my father had died.
Right.
Well, he died, and I couldn't bring him back, and I couldn't be sad for so very long. We had to move forward. My mother, my sister, my brother, we had to move forward. And the only way to do that was to make a plan. Okay, what are we going to do now? How are we going to handle this? And by always thinking ahead and always having plan B, I don't think that you dwell on the uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you got really kicked hard. I mean, you're 15 years old. Your father, you were living in San Antonio at the time, and things were really thriving. And it was a wonderful time in your life.
He got sick on a Monday and he died the following Sunday. And there never was a cause of his death. They think it may have been the Victoria flu in 1957, or it could have been medication that they gave him, because the medication that they gave him for his flu symptoms was later banned because so many people had adverse reactions, like dying. That's pretty adverse.
It's pretty adverse.
And
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. And it was like out of nowhere. And it was like, okay, what do we do as a family now? And my mother was very open. And that's how I think I learned to be so open with my children. She said, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay in San Antonio? Which, parentheses, she did not like San Antonio. Or do you want to go back to Cleveland, where my parents had come from? And I said, I was the cheerleader. I said, yes, 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 let's go back to Cleveland, because I had spent the previous summer with my grandparents in Cleveland, and I had friends, and I had a fabulous time. And for some reason, I liked a big city. And I guess I considered, coming from San Antonio, that Cleveland was a big city.
Right.
So I said to my mother, it's very important that we have grandparents there, because my father's parents were alive and well and living there. I said, so it's very important that, I don't you think it's important that we kids have grandparents? And I said, and you have sisters there. My mom had like
Right.
three sisters alive there. And I said, even though you sometimes get aggravated with them, at least they'll be there for you. I guess there you go. They were her people.
Right.
So
And
she said, well, how about Mexico City? Because the dollars can go a long way there. I don't think so. She said, well, we could go to California and we can live in Uncle Bernie's guest house till we get settled. That's been offered. And I said, California? I don't think so either. No, I said Cleveland. And my brother was he was 5 at that point. And my sister really didn't have too much to say. And Cleveland it was. So off we went. So that was something to look forward to. And so when you have something to look forward to, you don't dwell on the bad.
I remember I didn't know a lot of that. So I didn't know that you could have ended up in Mexico City. I didn't know that was one of you. I don't know. You probably would have met another man and I wouldn't exist. So I could be Harlando, but a different form.
But here's the thing, and I think about that a lot too. Had my father not died and we stayed in San Antonio, well, my life would have been a lot different, because he was really on a success road.
Yeah.
And he was a builder, and he had gone from homes for the returning GIs, and he was building tract homes, and then he went to custom homes, and he went to commercial buildings. And those were the days when people were just getting off the ground with commercial buildings. So that didn't happen. That was the end of that story. But that could have happened.
Right.
And it didn't. So I lost my train of thought for a second.
Well, let me jump in. I know that you're talking about a most uncomfortable experience. And for those of you who are just joining us, I'm talking with Shirley Cohn, who happens to be my mom, and someone who's in my corner. I'm very blessed and grateful to have, a mother and father who are still here. And it's kind of a weird thing to say, who are still here, but like,
Harlan, let me get back to my train of thought. I know where I was going with that. So had everything stayed the same, then I probably would have gone to Ohio State. and I would have met your dad, and you'd still be here.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Very much, because I really was in love with Cleveland and Ohio. So I would have gone from San Antonio to Ohio State, would have met him. And
So
there
it
you
still would have happened. We just would have had, it would have been a little bit different. We would have, I would go to Mexico more.
well, now I go to Nuevo Laredo, but not only,
Speak Spanish.
if we lived in Cleveland, we would be making trips to San Antonio all the time to visit family. So you would have been going to San Antonio to Cleveland and back.
Right. So that would have been the difference. But it's interesting when you dealt with tragedy and your father passing at a young age, my grandfather, who I really never got to know, which is a very sad piece, but I also believe he's always with me. I
Right.
do. Even today, like even during this conversation, like it's like that comes up. Because I've always had this thing with my mom. You know, it's interesting because that event, and I don't want just to talk about that event, but I think there isn't a more uncomfortable event in someone's life than the loss of someone they love, right? I mean, that's really something that leaves an indelible mark. And when that happened, when you were uncomfortable and your family you wanted to make the next move, it was always people and places. I mean, that's what ended up. You went to the place where you had people, where you were familiar, where you could find joy and align with the things that made you feel better. Also being with family, with your aunts and uncles and with grandparents, which I think is really interesting. I think there was something else you said that always stuck with me is that I think was it the day, it was either the day that your dad passed or it was your mom, that the world kept going on.
It was on the way to the cemetery when my father died. And I was looking out the window, and it was a bright sunny day, and there was a man mowing his lawn. And I'm thinking, why is he mowing his lawn? Doesn't he know my father died? And that's when it occurred to me, the world goes on. Nobody really cares except the people immediately involved.
Yeah,
I mean, why would he not be mowing his lawn? Why would a garbage truck not be going down the street? Why would people not be going to lunch? And
yeah, just because of that, and I think that when we feel that pain and discomfort in our lives, it's almost like, why is the rest of the world not stopping and paying attention to me and feeling what I'm feeling? And I think it's a lonely feeling, a confusing feeling that a lot of people go through. And having people in our corners is so important. And it's interesting because I feel, and I didn't know what this conversation would be, but I really feel that your dad has been in my corner. Even when someone passes away, that question of when people no longer are part of your physical world, can they still be in your corner to help support you as you go along your journey? And what do you think of that?
I think, as our liturgy says, as long as you remember the person, they're still alive.
Right. And then you've also said something really interesting to me. You said when you look in the mirror, and I listen to a lot of things you say. I think we could talk for hours, and I'd love to talk more about some of these things with you. I think this is fun to do this because you're such a bright light to so many people, and of course to me through the years. But you said when you look in the mirror, you don't see your age. When you look in the mirror and you think about your life, you still feel the same. The essence, that thing. And I think of that picture of that you have of you with curly hair and the black and white picture as a little girl that's right in your bathroom. And
Right.
I think of that's still who you are. Do you still see that? Is that how you see the world? Do you feel that still, or do you feel any older, having more experiences?
I feel that the experiences that I have had make me who I am. It's like building a three-layer cake or whatever. You just keep adding more to it, and you do learn from your experiences if you pay attention. Somebody was just talking about serendipity, and I said it's serendipitous if you open your eyes to it. So, and that's something I have learned to be aware of of where I am and the people whom I'm with. And then it becomes serendipitous that this happens and that happens, because so many things in my life happen that are just coincidental, but they're
Yeah.
not really coincidental. And
Right.
people open their eyes. And maybe that's the way I've changed as I've gotten older. Maybe I wasn't that aware of it as a younger person. But as far as being old, I'm not old. I'm not
I
old.
never called you old.
No, but I'm saying people my age, now people imply that I am, but
Okay.
I'm.
Wasn't me.
And one of my favorite things, I am such a poor golfer and I can only get better. And people my age say, "Oh, I peaked. Now it's all downward." I'm going, how could they have peaked? I have so much more to learn and to go and to do.
Yeah. I think that's what's so exciting is the wanting part in this book, or even I hate to even bring the book because it's like, who cares about the book? But just in wanting, well, the book, it's nice, but the idea of wanting, and I think that the essence, the reason that I wanted to also chat with you is because you're someone who never stops wanting, and you are open to new experiences, and as you continue to live each day, you're open to new adventures,
I,
and
I am. I am.
you want adventure.
I do. I
and
do.
and you can handle, and when you get emotionally invested and you get hurt, you seem to be okay. When it comes to being able to recover when you get hurt, uh, you know, is there an event or something other than the one that we talked about where it was an uncomfortable, difficult, or challenging experience? Or let's do this. Let me do this because we only have a short amount of time. Let's talk about a victory because you're so awesome and you do so many things. And for those who are just joining us, this is my mom. You are a teacher, and you're no longer certified as a teacher, but you taught what grade?
I taught fourth grade and third grade. I
Fourth
said
grade.
fourth first because I enjoyed four more than three.
Oh, that's so great. And you also then became a full-time mom
Yes.
after that, right?
Yes.
And then you got involved with the school board, and you were elected president of the school board, and you found the superintendent, right?
Actually, no, he was already there.
Okay, that's not true.
I mean, I found him when I went to look for him, but
He was in his office, but
I
you're
was
involved with that, right?
I was not on a search committee for him, and he was wonderful. And he has passed away, and I want to mention his name. His name was Ted Kamatis, Dr. Ted Kamatis, and he was such a wonderful, caring person, and he was smart, and he was so concerned about the kids that he would talk about a role model. He was just a wonderful superintendent, and it was just wonderful to have worked with him.
Yeah, and the people who have been in your corner, who provide light, who have helped, and I know you speak really highly of him. I remember him, uh, bald, right?
Correct. Harlan, I don't know, you probably don't remember this, but when I was running for school board, it was a contested election. And the day of the polling, I had you, I had you and your brothers standing, X amount of feet away from the polling. And you were carrying a sign that said, "Vote for my mother." And I should have taken a picture of that.
Oh,
So
I-
cute. So
that's hilarious.
yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember that, but I do remember you going to school board meetings and dad being in charge and me staying up as late as I could.
right.
And then flushing the toilet on the stairs so everyone knew I was up because you would come home, and then my older brothers would be in the kitchen, and you'd sometimes have groceries, and then dad would be there, everybody would be eating, having fun, and I was the youngest. I'm still the youngest. But I wasn't invited to the party, so I'd flush the toilet as many times as possible so I'd be invited to the party. Uh,
I have a wonderful story to tell. Do I have time to tell a
yeah,
wonderful?
yeah.
When you said I would come home with groceries, sometimes after the school board meeting, I would stop at the Jewel and I would get whatever I needed. And one night I went to the Jewel, and our next door neighbor was there. And she said, Shirley, there's a new bull shopping. And I didn't pay too much attention to the bulls. And I go, "Well, okay, that's very nice." She goes, "Oh, you got to see him. You got to see him." So we ran through the store, and he was checking out. So I said to him, "If my girlfriend unloads your groceries, would you sign an autograph for my son?" And he said, "Sure, I'll be happy to. What's your son's name?" So I took out a check from the back of my checkbook. I took out a deposit slip, and he wrote, "To Harlan, good luck, best of luck, Michael Jordan." And I brought it home, and I woke you up, and I said, Harlan, there's a new bull, and I got his autograph for you." And you went, "Just put it on my dresser."
I I appreciated that.
I was
I saved it and I sold it for $78, and it was great. Thank you. No,
You were so unenthused. I think you threw it away.
that was very kind of you. It was very kind. You're always thinking of me,
I
and
know.
it was very nice. You've always been in my corner, and you're somebody who's thoughtful. You're always doing things, and I've there's so many different stories. I want to do this again because I think it's fun to talk about the people in your corner, and there's so many good stories. But I was a very overweight teenager. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that?
I remember that you were somewhat heavy. I don't want
Oh,
to describe you as overweight.
I was obese.
See, I never saw you that way.
How not?
How
I mean,
don't
I,
because
I, I,
mother's
I mean,
vision.
I had the biggest pants in the family. I was 13 years old. How did you not see it? I was spitting on my nachos so nobody could eat them. Uh, we went to Weight Watchers together.
That's true.
You remember that? When I went to Weight Watchers together, did you see me as an overweight kid then?
Well, someone who had to lose a little weight, but not as obese. I never saw you as obese.
No, I was. It's okay. I'm okay with that. But the thing about my childhood is, and for those of you out there who don't know me and just getting to know me, is I always had people in my corner, and family has been so great. Like you've always been there, even on a Friday or Saturday night when I didn't have someone to invite me to go out, I'd be able to go to the movies with you and Dad, and you'd invite me to dinner, and you always included me, and you continue to always include me. And I remember the first day when I started my advice column, your enthusiasm and excitement about that. When I sold a paper, I remember, I would say, "Hey, if someone wants to buy the column," and you and Dad and your enthusiasm have just been just through the roof, and my brothers as well. And I'm just so grateful for that. And I just want to thank you for always being in my corner and continuing to be in my corner. Uh, I don't
And
know if you
you're just loved. You're so loved.
I'm very lucky, and there's so many people who don't have family in their corner who they can talk to. And as my family has grown, and I know there's so many things we can include, but even from uh, when I met Stephanie and met my wife, and you were so welcoming and so encouraging, you and Dad, and with my in-laws and the family, and it's always been this wonderful thing. And it really comes down to people, places, and patience, and having people in my corner. So for today, we can definitely do it to be continued. I just want to thank you so much for being in my corner. I'm curious to know, when you think of the people in your corner right now, who are the people in your corner? Can you kind of run through that? Do you have a running list?
Um, no, I don't have a running
Because
list.
then someone will be excluded. But I can imagine. I could probably do a list. Right.
Uh,
They'll be pissed off. They'll be like, "Why wasn't I in your corner, Shirley?"
I will tell you, your father has always been in my corner, and he's always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do. He has
Never threatened by your success.
no, no, no. He was always encouraging me. And even today, when I when I was talking about my golf game, when I hit a ball and it's a good ball. Oh, Shirley, that's the best ball you've hit all day. Wow, are you good? So he always has encouraged me. So he's always in my corner. And I have to say, my three sons have always been in my corner, and they're always there. No matter how busy any of you are, if I need you, you're there. If there's an emergency, you drop everything and you're there. And you can't ask for anything better than that.
No, that's really it's we're very lucky. And when you say that, I think of people who don't have that, or maybe have lost someone who they love and are missing that. And just even circling back to uh, those people who were in your life or are no longer in your life are still there. And
Well, I do want to add two more people.
sure,
And I would say it's your wife,
my
Steph,
wife,
your
right?
wife, your
I have a
wife.
wife.
You have
Yes,
a wife.
I know I have a wife.
With a wife. And and Irene, your brother's wife.
Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
those two women are in my corner. And you talk about dropping everything and running to help, to be there. When there's been health issues, both of them have been as close to us and as concerned and caring as you and your brothers. So that's five people. Well,
Isn't that something?
your dad makes six.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you have so many other people too. I mean, you just have a trail. It's like a cosmic trail, and all of these, just so many people who you've been in so many people's corner, and you continue to be in so many ways. And you're so loved and just such a wonderful presence. And you deserve to be celebrated. All moms deserve to be celebrated. All dads deserve to be celebrated. Anybody who's in your corner. And with this book and with this new adventure, it's helping people to find other people who could be in their corner, whether it's to be supported emotionally, whether it's to be supported in business ventures, whether it's to be supported uh, during a time of need with health. It's just about, how do you find your people? And I'm one of the things I love to do, and I think it's an extension of you and also dad and the family, is I want to be in other people's corner and continue to do that. And as I stop and pause and just talk to you and look at you, and you look great today, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look fantastic. Um, you'd always ask me, how do I look?
Young.
But you'd say young. You look
Yeah.
young. You'd say, do I look thin?
Do I look thin today?
Yeah, you look fantastic. You look great. Yeah. So many things we could talk about, but you continue to be in so many people's corner, and I am grateful to be in so many people's corner. And as we continue on with this, I'm gonna have Stephanie on here because I think it's nice. My wife, she's in my corner, and talk to more and more people who are not only in my corner but could be in your corner. Uh, I want to thank you for your time. I'm so grateful for you. Does
This has been so much fun.
is
And
Yes, I should listen. Sorry to interrupt you, mother.
that's okay. Son.
I never even call you mother.
No, I never call you son.
No.
This has just been fun. Just good
Yeah.
chatting with you. And I love your new book, and I love you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that and appreciate all the support. And thanks for being so open and talking about all those parts of your life in the beginning. We kind of jumped into some serious stuff in the beginning, but those are the things that I think about. And I'm grateful that we can have that time. So anyway, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to be on my way. We're going to end this live. I want to encourage everybody who's here. You can check out the book. It's a fun book. It's a book that just helps you to go after what you want. I'm also starting a 25-day win or learn risk-taking experiment. Mom, you're invited to join.
Okay.
January 18th, I'm going to be starting this 5 days a week, offering some suggestions, tips, lessons from the book, sharing conversations with students, with other individuals. You can sign up for that. Just go to harlancohn.com/win or learn, harlancohn.com/win or learn. And with that, I want to thank you again. God, you're just so great listening. And we could be like a co-anchor. You're like an anchor. Like you're very composed. Never done this before. You're very
No,
good.
I haven't done this before. I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. You're really good at this.
So
Yeah.
are you.
We should do more of this. Maybe we'll do more. Let me know if you want more of this. My mom's got some good stories, good advice. She's really something. She's amazing. And so I just want to thank you again. Thank Dad too. I know he's doing his thing. I'd have him on too. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to thank everybody, wishing everybody the best day, the best week. Hope you go after what you want. Know that we are in your corner. I'm in your corner. My mom's in my corner. She might even be in your corner too. And we're just grateful to be here with you to continue to add a little light and love to your day. All right. Thanks. I'm going to sign off. Love you, Mom. Thanks for being here. And thank you, everybody else, for joining me today. Grateful to